So today we are going to study about microbiology. So when you say microbiology, if you can see at the top, I have written microbiology is you divide it into micro and biology. So micro means microorganisms, study of microorganisms, and biology is living organisms. So micro means something which you see under microscope. Biology means study of living organisms. So microbiology is study of microorganisms. Can everybody mute themselves because I'm really getting background noise.
Okay.
Okay, please mute yourself. Thank you. So microbiology is study of microorganisms, and you do the study of microorganisms under the microscope because you cannot see them with your naked eyes, so you have to see them under microscope. Okay, so that is microbiology. Now in microorganisms, you have all this category of microorganisms, that is bacteria, fungus, protozoas, algae or algae, you pronounce it both ways, and viruses. All this population, you cannot see all these organisms with your naked eye, so you have to use microscope. And the study of bacteria, fungus, protozoans, algae, viruses is known as microbiology. Research of all these organisms is a microbiology research. So if you tomorrow want to become a microbiologist, do research into that, or do PhD, find out some you want to, do projects or find out something new, do some new research, find out a new medicine. This is the research involving microorganisms is a microbiology research. So you have to take microbiology in your masters and then do research into them. You can take other subjects also in your master's or your bachelor's program, but microbiology is meant to do research into all of these. So let's start with bacteria. Okay, so now bacteria we have studied in previous classes. Bacteria is somebody who has just one cell, single cell. They just have one cell. Like in our human body we have millions of cells. If you take a dog or a cat, they have so many thousands and thousands of cells, but bacteria just has single cell. There is just one cell. And bacteria are known as prokaryotes because they don't have any nucleus. At the center, there is a nucleus in all organisms. Bacteria don't have nucleus. So the organisms which do not have a nucleus are known as prokaryotes. So bacteria don't have a nucleus, they are prokaryotes, they have a single cell. And some bacteria are photosynthetics. Photosynthetic means in the presence of sunlight, they can prepare their own food. And some bacteria, they cannot prepare their own food, so they depend on others for food. Like we humans, we cannot prepare our own food. We have to depend on plants or animals for food. So similarly, bacteria also cannot prepare their own food. They have to depend on others for food. But there are some bacteria that can prepare their own food. So they are known as photosynthetic bacteria. Photosynthetic means in the presence of photo is light, they can synthesize their own food. So this is about bacteria. So you can see the structure of bacteria. This is how a typical bacteria looks under the microscope. They are like rod-like structures. Okay. Now fungus. Fungus means mushroom. Let me show you this bread. Can everybody see this bread? Can you see the white dots on the bread?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you see this white dots on the bread? You should never have this bread because this white dots means yeast is grown on the bread. It's like a fungus. Okay, yeast is a type of a fungus. So it's like a fungus is grown on this white bread. So you cannot eat this bread. It is spoiled. Okay. Similarly, like I just get this bread for our studies to show you guys. So here also you can see white dots. So this typical white dots means these are fungus. So you can see here. These are fungus. Okay. So now you see mushrooms also, right, which are grown. So it's like fungus is nothing but yeast or mushrooms are the examples of for fungus. So basically these folks, they grow on dead decaying matter. So when bread decays, you see fungus grown on them, and then you have to trash the bed. It's not good to eat. But yeast, mushrooms, these are classic examples. And generally fungus, if you want to remember, you don't have to by heart everything. You just remember that they bread, if it is like expired or something after many days, or you know, if you you put your hands are wet and you put touch the bread with that, and then don't eat it for a while, after few days the bread will start decaying and will grow fungus. So fungus grows on dead decaying matter. Fungus are used in industries to make pizza, bread, wine, beer. Like you make use yeast to make the bread, right? So beer, wine, bread, pizza, you for their production they use fungus. So yeast is used for the production of bread. Okay. Then the next category is protozoans. Now protozoans means, so fungus are also eukaryote because they have a nucleus at the center, right? So either the organisms are single cell, they have one cell, or they are multicellular, means they have multiple cells. Then they are prokaryotes or eukaryotes. Prokaryotes means they don't have any nucleus, and eukaryotes means they have a nucleus at the center. I have taught you this before when we studied the cell. So whoever wants to draw, like Nidhi or all the other any small kids who want to draw, they can draw. If other kids also wants to draw, they can draw. But for other kids, it's more to understand. The kids who are small, they can use this as a drawing skill and draw all the structures. So eukaryotes means they have nucleus in the center. Okay, so protozoas, fungus, they are all eukaryotes because they have nucleus in the center. Bacteria don't have anything in the center, no nucleus. So it is prokaryotes, and these are eukaryotes. They have nucleus in the center. Now, protozoas, they cannot make their own food. They don't even have cell wall. They just have this tail-like structures which are known as flagellas. Then we come to, can everybody see algae now properly? Can everybody see algae?
Yeah.
Algae?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So this is how under microscope generally the algae will look. Typical example is when you go into oceans, you see the greenery thing, right? The greenery bushes kind of thing under the water. Those green structures are nothing but those green organisms are algae or algae. Okay, so this is how they look under the microscope. They have a cell wall and they are photosynthetic. There are red color algae. You can even see brown color algae in the ocean. So these are photosynthetic because they can prepare their own food. The green color algae can prepare their own food, and those green color algae are because they can prepare their own food. They are like plants. They are photosynthetic. Then viruses. Can you see viruses now?
Yes, Auntie. Okay. Yes, Auntie.
So in virus, the virus are not made of any cells. Like from bacteria to algae, we saw bacteria is made of one cell. Fungi, protozoas, algae are made of multiple cells. Humans are made up of multiple cells. We have thousands of cells in our body. Viruses are not made of any cells. So virus cannot, outside your body, virus doesn't have a life. They cannot survive. They can only survive in a host body. So animal or human body. They need a host cell or a plant body. Host means if you have guests in your house, right? So you're hosting a party. That means you're arranging everything for the party. You're cooking food. You're arranging the whole venue, games and everything. So you're the host of the party. Host is somebody who arranges everything, right? Similarly, virus, to survive, they need a host body. Host body means somewhere they can go and stay, and that person will give them food and everything, right? So viruses cannot stay outside. They need either plant, animal or human beings to survive. So they have to be in the body of the humans or the body of the animals or the plants to survive. That's why viruses cannot survive by themselves. They need host cells to survive. So microbiology is nothing but study of these all organisms. So we studied bacteria. Bacteria does not have any nucleus. They have single cell. They can either prepare their own food or they are dependent on others for food. Then we studied fungus. Fungus is those the white structures which when the bread decays you get. These are like fungus. So fungus are nothing but yeast, mushrooms. These are examples of fungus. They depend on dead decaying matter. Like they are used for the beer, wine, bread and pizza production in industries. Then we studied protozoans. Protozoans are, they have nucleus in their, I mean, they all have nucleus except bacteria. The protozoans cannot make their own food. There is no cell wall, and they have this tail-like structures which are known as flagella. So you don't have to learn flagella. You just have to remember they are like tail-like structures. Algae are something which can prepare their own food. They are green color, they are brown color algae also, and then they have a cell wall. And virus are something which have no cells. They cannot, that's why they cannot survive outside. They are depending on host cells to survive. Okay, I'll take a pause here. Anybody has any questions? Okay. So this cell wall, we talked about this cell wall, right? So this cell wall is generally this is made up of sugars. A lot of this whole cell wall. Sorry, there is no cell wall for protozoans. They just have a outer structure and flagella. There are cell walls in like algae, for example, or fungus, right? So the cell wall is nothing but it is made up of sugars. A lot of sugars. The cell wall is made up of basically sugars. Okay. Then in bacteria also they have a cell wall, and that cell wall is made up of proteins and sugars. So different organisms, either they have cell walls made of sugar or they have cell wall made of proteins or sugars. Now let's see what is the significance of microorganisms. So can anybody tell me what is the importance of microorganisms? What is the use of this microorganisms?
I have a question. If these can only be seen under a microscope, how come we can see mushrooms if they're fungi?
So you can so the thing is, you can see them like green algae also, you can see them in water, right? You see that green and brown algae in water, but to see their structure, what is in their cell, what is in the cell wall, where is the nucleus, you have to study that under the microscope. You cannot, by just looking at this white structure, can you make out? You just see white dots, right? But if you have to see how is their structure, you exactly how they look, everything, so you have to see their structure under microscope. Correct. So there are some organisms like bacteria you cannot see with your naked eyes. Even you cannot see this much with your naked eyes. This white structures, fungus which you see, even you cannot see that much of the bacteria or other microbes with your naked eyes. So you have to see the entire structure under microscope. But in case of bacteria or algae, you can just see them outside, that they are white or green color in nature, but you cannot see how exactly they look. By white dots or by green structure, you don't know how exactly they look. So you have to dissect them, you have to put stains and then see under microscope. And once you see, you will see the entire structure. Right now, you cannot see this structure. If you see a protozoa or algae, you cannot see this structure. But when you actually dissect them and put them on a slide, put some stains, and see them under the microscope, you will see exactly how is the cell wall, what is the nucleus, how is the actual algae structure. So there are, to answer your question, there are some microorganisms which you cannot see with your naked eyes, like viruses or bacteria. You need to do certain, culture them, do certain kind of research and watch under microscope. There are certain microorganisms like fungus or algae, which you can see with your naked eyes, but you cannot see the full structure. You can see like overall how the appearance is. To study the more structure, to study what is in their cell wall and everything, you have to see it under the microscope. You got it?
Yes.
Okay, good. So let's study what is the significance of microorganisms. So the significance of microorganisms is they produce carbon dioxide. Microorganism, like some bacteria, they produce nitrogen, which is very important for plants. So if bacteria are in the roots, they will give out nitrogen, which is very important for plants. So some bacteria give out carbon dioxide, methane, and because of this, lot of life on the earth is balanced because of all these products which are given out by microorganism. You find a lot of microorganism in the forests, seas, and oceans. So like, you know, our body has good bacteria and bad bacteria. Bad bacteria makes us sick. But good bacteria, they helps us in digestion. There are some good bacteria in your body which helps your body to digest the food. So these are good bacteria. So like you will find good bacteria as well as bad bacteria. Bad bacteria will cause disease and good bacteria will help in digestion, will help in nitrogen fixation in plants. You use fungus for bread production, wine production, beer, cheese production. Some of the microorganisms are used in mining, biotechnology, research done in labs. So if you want to find out a medicine, you can first culture the microorganism, do research on them, and then you can like that research will lead you to the production of some medicinal products. So this microorganisms, there is a lot of significance of microorganism. Lot of research is done on them. Lot of medicine products, antibiotics, first research are done on microorganisms. So it is easy for the researchers to culture them, do a research, and then come up with the product. So they know the product, there are a lot of layers, but this is on the surface level that what is the importance of microorganism. So let's see how a research is done in the lab. Okay. Okay, so let's see how research is done on labs. Okay. Now, very basic thing before we get into all of this. This is a Bunsen burner. Okay. There is a small kind of flame burner which you always have in the research labs. And this is like your this is like whenever you want to prepare any bacterial culture or something, you have this wire loop. Okay, this wire loop is to spread the, if you take a liquid mixture you want to spread over the petri plate, you have to use this wire loop. It spreads evenly, but the point about this is that you have to always sterilize it. So you take the wire loop, you always have this Bunsen burner whenever you're doing experiments in the hood or in the research lab, the tissue culture area. Whenever you're doing the experiments in the tissue culture hood, you have to make sure that your Bunsen burner is on, and you have to always make sure this wire loop is sterilized. Because why you have to sterilize this always? Because if you don't do it, the problem is that if you're growing a specific type of bacteria, let's say you're growing E. coli in lab, okay? There are like different type names, Staphylococcus aureus, E. coli, different microorganisms are there. So let's say you're growing E. coli. You just want to look at the E. coli structure, study the E. coli structure. But if you don't sterilize this wire loop and then you mix the culture on this petri plate, what is going to happen is, along with E. coli, you will have Staphylococcus. There are a lot of different bacterial strains, different microorganisms, all you will see under the microscope. So now you don't know which is E. coli. So if you want to specifically grow E. coli or specifically grow one type of microorganism, you don't want the other micro, because in the air there are a lot of other bacteria, right? Lot of other microorganisms are there. You don't want the contamination of your research. Okay, you don't want this petri plate to contaminate. By contaminate, it means that if you are studying one bacteria, if in the air there are hundreds of bacteria, so when you do research, if you even keep this petri plate open, you are going to have thousands of other hundreds of bacteria on this. So how will you study one type of bacteria? So if you want to do E. coli culture, if you want to study E. coli type of if you want to study E. coli, what you're supposed to do is, you're supposed to make sure that you have this Bunsen burner on. You're in the tissue culture lab, which is it is in sterile conditions. You have only one or two people can enter at a time. You can sit in that your place. Only one person can like do experiments in that hood. There are separate tissue culture units, and then you have one Bunsen burner over there. You use this wire loop. You sterilize it to make sure once you heat it, it gets sterilized and it kills any other bacteria. Then you then you take your culture and you put the culture in the petri plate. Okay, now if you have to grow bacteria, if you want to grow certain kinds of bacteria, first you have to put on this Petri plate or this flask. There are two ways of doing it. Either you can grow it on a Petri plate, or you can grow the bacterial culture in the flask. In the flask, it is always a liquid broth. Okay, you can always grow it in liquid broth. You have to use flask. If you want to grow it in a solidified conditions, it is McConkey's agar, which is generally used to grow the bacteria. Okay, now what this agar or broth contains is they have food. If you want to use the bacteria, like bacteria outside or virus outside or anybody outside, if they don't have food, they are going to die. So you have to, if you want to study a bacteria, you have to first make sure the bacteria is living. To grow the bacterial culture, to grow that, you need to give them food. And to give them food, you have to prepare this McConkey's agar or broth. If you want to grow the bacteria in the liquid broth, you use flask. If you want to grow the bacteria into a solidified Petri plate, you use McConkey's agar. You first you make the agar. Agar is nothing but, or the broth is nothing but the food of the bacteria. So you make that in the lab first. Once it is done, then what you do is you put that, you make it in a big, like a big cylinder. Once it is done, you put them in flask or the Petri plate. Then you solidify this. Once this is solidified, then you put the bacterial culture, whatever bacterial culture you have, you put that bacterial culture. With the help of this loop, you spread it evenly on this Petri plate, or you put the loop in this flask. So after 24 or 48 hours, you incubate it to the right temperature. Let's say E. coli needs so and so temperature, 50 degrees or 60 degrees, whatever. That temperature, you incubate it for like in the machine for like 24 or 48 hours. And after 48 hours, you will see white color colonies of bacteria. You will see white color colonies of bacteria in this. In the flask, you will see this has become white color, foggy things have appeared here. Then you can pick that up, put them in the slides, stain them, and see them under the microscope. And now you can study the bacteria under the microscope. This is how, in nutshell, the study takes place. So first you have to prepare the food or the medium for bacteria. Okay, once you prepare the food, you put them in Petri plate or the flask if you want to grow solidified or liquid broth. Then you refrigerate them. Once this becomes solidified, then you take bacterial culture, evenly spread with this loop on the Petri plate or the flask, and after 24 or 48 hours of incubation, you will see there are white bacterial colonies formed on this.
Auntie, how do you put it in the solidified Petri plate again?
First you put the liquid agar on this plate, then you have to solidify it. So you have to put it in the refrigerator, in the machine for like for a couple of hours. Once it is solidified, then you can take the bacterial culture with the help of this loop. This loop will take one drop or 2-3 drops of bacterial culture, and you can evenly spread that on the Petri plate.
Okay, so we make the agar in the lab, and then we spread in the Petri plate, and then we refrigerate it, and then we spread it over.
So first you prepare the food. The food is the McConkey's agar or broth. Once the food is prepared, then you solidify it. Once it is solidified, then you put the bacterial culture on this. And then the bacteria will start growing on this food, on this nutrient. They need nutrients to grow. So they will start growing, and then you will see them under the microscope. You can take one colony, white color colony, put it on the slide, stain it, and then you can see it under microscope.
Okay.